Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram, and today's video is part 2 of my honeymoon spreads. So this one will be from October 5th through October 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I think actually October 10th. I think I made a decision after last week's spread where I struggled with the uneven number of leftover columns, what to do. So I decided to tack on the 6th, 5th. Hold on. I should know what extra day I've added. October 10th. That's the date, October 10th. I've tacked on October 10th to the end of this week. I am using this kit from miss+meow called Autumn Colors because this is the week where we actually really got to experience the changing of the fall leaves when we went to, or when we traveled through like the Vermont, Maine area. So that's why I decided to use this kit for this week. And also I feel like it's been a while since I used a miss+meow kit, and I have an abundance of like rose gold fall kits that I needed to figure out what to do with them. So that is the what we're doing. This is back when this is pre reformat. Well, pre 2025 reformat, where Regina stopped splitting the washi for the sidebar. I made an announcement in my like weekly shop updates, but Regina is now transitioning all of her manufacturing over to Sadie Stickers, very much like how Panda Bird Design has it, and Letters to Apollo, although I'm fairly certain Letters to Apollo probably still does it. She just does more of like the kind of junk journaling kits and like that kind of realm that I don't really shop from Letters to Apollo that often. So I wouldn't actually know. Like I've never received a package. I haven't received a package from her recently, so I don't actually know. But I know Panda Bird Design is still fulfilled through Sadie Stickers. So I believe the closing sale, closing sale would have happened by the time that this video goes up. That Regina has decided, after careful thought based on her Instagram posts or stories, that in order to give herself, as a mom of 2 under 2, the grace to spend time with her family and to plan and all of that, that she will be moving the fulfillment part over to Sadie Stickers. She will still do a lot of the designing. However, as with, I would assume, transitioning fulfillment, probably the papers will be different because Sadie Stickers doesn't have transparent matte for anything that isn't foil. I would assume that the formatting has to change with the different machine and technology. So I would say expect a reformat of the miss+meow kit after this point because of the move to fulfillment over to Sadie Stickers. I also took this opportunity to go into my stash to kind of use up a lot of these fall foils. These fall foils, I believe some of them might be on clear paper, because when I started this hobby, I didn't understand what the difference between clear paper and transparent matte paper is. We don't really see, well, in this realm. I know on the like clip art kit side, they still use the clear paper. But on this kind of like dainty foil, that's kind of how I categorize it in my head. This dainty foil side, we tend to shy away from the glare of the clear paper, in which, I mean, I get a little like when I see the clear foil, but I'm like, I bought this, so I should use it up. So there's that. And then for my center bridge, you know me for my center bridges. Maybe you don't, but that's what I like to think that I'm known for. Um, I saw these. There was definitely this double box scene. The two on the right are a double box scene, but I saw the one with the two girls, and I figured it kind of sort of extended the scene. And since I usually do kind of tilted boxes, it wouldn't be so noticeable that they're technically, it's not like a triple scene. Um, so that's what I did for my center bridge here. I did not buy the alcohol inks for this collection, because when I was doing purchases last year, I was trying to be conservative about what I picked up from collections. So I went digging to find what I could find. I think I ended up using some alcohol inks from Dash of Suns. Was it Autumn Harvest? What was the other autumn kit? It's gonna kill me that I can't remember the name. I'll pop it up because I know I used that collection last year. It wasn't Crimson Harvest; it was the other one. Um, and I can't remember what the name is right now. And then um, other, and then of course I pulled in my foiled alcohol inks. And then this will be the first spread in which I've used foil deco on washi paper, and I think on camera it doesn't show up as much. The fact that, like, it kind of looks to me mostly that it is like transparent matte, right? You can't really see the outline of the washi paper so much on this one. Um, and I think I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Um, I have not done I have not done really extensive layering just yet. Um, I would say the layering I do with the washi paper on here is relatively simple. There might be some places, I think maybe on the sidebar, because this spread is a double sidebar here, um, where I might layer some on top of this floral. But um, I did these bases a little while ago. I've been needing to find the time to do voiceovers. That's why the pause in the content. And I like to give myself a little bit of space to do voiceovers and edit in case I find, in case I'm reviewing something, I'm like, ooh, I don't like how that sounds, or whatnot. So I give myself the ability to redo things. Um, so I don't really remember much about this base, to be very honest with you, because I did it a while ago. Um, so I know that. I chose this kit as part two of my honeymoon series because one, I didn't really need another honeymoon kit or wedding type of kit. And two, this is the week where we were in Salem, went over to Boston. We took a little drive up to Bar Harbor. I can't say Bar Harbor. Bar Harbor. I can't say it with the accent. Bar Harbor. Is that how you say it? They definitely have an accent up there. It's very, it's a very, very strong accent. Um, and then we took a return trip through Vermont and stopped by St. Johnsbury. Um, my husband was the one who suggested St. Johnsbury. It's not like maybe I'm wrong. It's not like a huge destination, but they have an Enanthium. I believe that's how you pronounced it. Which is kind of like this Enanthium. It's like a library, but not like a library. Here it is. Search instead that for this thing. Hold on. Sorry, I'm Googling this because I did know what these words were before, but now I don't remember what they mean. So an Athenaeum. There we go. So the definition of an Athenaeum, what it is a building dedicated to it's an institution for the promotion of literary or scientific learning. It's kind of like a library, but it's more focused on like educational slash resources rather than being a general public library. So my husband somehow he's a wealth of obscure knowledge. um, he knew that there was an atheum up there, an athenaeum, however you pronounce it. I'm even though I took hooked on phonics, I'm horrible at pronouncing words. Um, he said, "Hey, there's this cool place here. We can hit it on the way back. It's also kind of like in the heart of Vermont. Um, so let's just make that our final stop," um, which is what we did. It was very beautiful. But on to what's going. I never prefaced that one. Now I'm only prefacing one. Sorry if the sound quality is a little different. I'm trying to squeeze voiceovers in. So I'm using whatever mic I have easily accessible. So this is not my standard voiceover mic. And two, normally I have a game plan when I do voiceovers, but this time, again, as I said, I'm kind of squeezing these in. So we're just doing voiceovers whenever I can. um, so yeah, that's that. The space is relatively simple. Yeah, double sidebar. I put in a miss+meow flat lay, right? I have flat lays in a majority of my miss+meow kits. So I made sure to have a miss+meow flat lay here. I also, I think what really drew me to this kit when I first bought it was this like wine Merlot color, which I didn't really have an equivalent in my alcohol ink collection. Like that one burgundy color is definitely a little bit of a outlier in my foil colors here, but not foil colors, my alcohol ink colors. But I figured that it could sort of be my stand-in for my this wine Merlot color. I'm not really sure uh, what color it is specifically, and I continue to try to name these colors, even though I'm bad with naming colors. Um, and I'm trying to figure out what else there is to talk about before we break into the day by day. I feel like this is the first sidebar I finished, and I still need to finish. Oh no, okay, so I did finish the other sidebar. Sorry, I got a little distracted trying to look some stuff up. So, second half of the honeymoon was definitely a little more focused on fall or being a little more touristy. Um, I think it had been a long time since Max had been to Salem, my husband, and I'd never been to Salem up at this point. So we got to Salem the day before. On Tuesday the 5th, we went to Red's Sandwich Shop. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that says. For breakfast. Then we hopped on over to House of the Seven Gables, uh, um, which, if I remember correctly, isn't like the house itself is not original. They kind of reconstructed the house to have the aspects of the Seven Gables. I actually don't think I've ever read a House of the Seven Gables. Sorry, I don't think I've actually ever read it. So yeah. Moving on. If you know anything about me, um, Kingdom Hearts is a big part of my life. It's part of the reason my husband and I are together. It's what started our relationship. Um, not that I'm a huge Super Smash Brothers player. I was around for like the OG Smash, and then that was pretty much it. Pikachu was my main, but Pikachu's broken. Um, but this was back when Smash Ultimate, is that what the game series? Whatever, the most recent Smash. That's this was when the last DLC character was going to be announced, and people had been hoping and praying, maybe not praying, but they've been hoping that Sora of Kingdom Hearts would show up in Smash. And lo and behold, the announcement trailer goes up and we see the Keyblade, and I'm like, oh my god, they did it. My husband's he's more into this. He was like, they did it. They brought Sora over, because we never thought Sora would come over, because Sora technically is a Disney character. He's not a Square Enix. Well, he is a Square Enix character, but Disney owns him, I believe. Um, so we never thought it would happen. We really didn't think it would happen. So that was exciting news for two of us. For him as a Smash person, and for me as a Kingdom Hearts fan. Um, and from what I recall, Sora is one of the most broken characters, but he kind of came so late into the meta that he never really, like, the game kind of died because he was the last DLC character. I'm sure there's still a community here, but he didn't get the same. He wouldn't get the same hype as like the Belmonts or like Banjo. So moving on, moving on. That night we went for a History of Salem night walking tour. I do remember towards the end, I was like, why did I not go to the bathroom beforehand? Because there was like no stops. So I actually had to like run back once they decided to sit down somewhere and find a porta potty. And I was like, hopefully I'm going to make it back okay. And like, just have my, just texting my husband the whole time. But yeah, so that's how we ended the night. The next day we decided to go hop on over to Boston. We went to the New England Aquarium. We went over to Quincy Market. And then, like I said, we usually stop by cemeteries. So we went to the Old North Church Crypt tour. I'm just reading off of what I can see on the screen, just so y'all know. And then that night, we actually had friends who had moved to Boston. So we had dinner with them, which is what I marked there. They were dating at the time, a high school friend and his girlfriend. They were dating at the time. Shortly after we had dinner with them, they got engaged. We attended their wedding. It was lovely. And then we went back to our hotel room, packed up, and got ready to go to our next destination, which was Bar Harbor, or the Bar Harbor area. So we're in just outside of Salem, Boston, Massachusetts. On the way up, we noticed, or we wanted to have a stop, so we weren't driving straight through. And my husband saw that there were some botanical gardens that are pretty popular along the way. So we stopped by the botanical gardens, has a little break, get lunch, yada, yada, yada. And then we got to our hotel, which was actually not in Bar Harbor. It was, I want to say, like, if I remember correctly, like 10 to 15 minutes outside of Bar Harbor. Because it was cheaper to stay outside, because, to stay outside of these major cities. And also, since we were on a road trip, we would have our car, so it was easy for us to like commute to these places. Um, then, so we got to our hotel. It was too late to really go do anything in Bar Harbor. So we had some, was it lobsters the first? No, we had steamed clams. We went to the lobster pound quite a few times. If you're up in that area, you have to have the lobster. You have to have seafood. Sorry if you're allergic to seafood. I really feel really bad, because there's something so amazing about fresh seafood. So we had, I think it was like a pound of steamed clams. And then we finished the night. I didn't mark this, but then we watched some Ghost Adventures, because that was kind of the only thing on the TVs at that point. And I'm just trying to remember if we had any like subscriptions active. We turn off our subscriptions pretty frequently, but I don't think we had any active because we weren't really watching anything at the time. So there's that. Moving on to, what is this? Friday. So I actually had us booked for a whale watching excursion. And they got us loaded on. We were sitting on the boat. But all the time prior to that, they were warning us, hey, you might, like, the seas seem a little rough. We're still waiting on whether we can go. And it was kind of like, okay, why did you get us all on here if there was even a chance that we weren't going out? I get it, because, like, if there was a chance, then we could just go. But with how they were making it sound, it didn't sound like we were going to be going. So, yeah, so our whale watching excursion got canceled. So we were like, okay, what do we do now? Because that was kind of like the crux of the trip. Because Acadia Park, um, what this is Friday. Friday, during the height of, well, not the height of fall, but like in October, Acadia Park was packed. So we drove through Acadia Park, um, but like I think half of the park was closed. It was very poorly communicated. But the park wasn't like fully open, so we only got to drive through part of the park. It's in the past. Let's move on. And then we finished the night with Ghost Adventures because there's nothing more we could do. We also got lobsters at the Lobster Pound, but I didn't mark that. On Saturday, we we were nearing the end of our trip. Like I said, we decided to go stop by St. Johnsbury on the way home because we weren't going to make the trek from Maine back to Pennsylvania in one day. There was no rhyme or reason to do that. So we went to St. Johnsbury. We stopped at, I think it's a Thai place called Pika Pika. I think that was like the first time I really had Thai food. As an adult. Maybe I had some when I was a kid, but as an adult, that was the first time I really remember it. And then we went to the Fairbanks Museum and Planetarium, and then we visited the Athenaeum, which was the whole point of us being there. And then we, you know, tried to soak in the last of our adventure because the next day was the final day um, before going back to work. Although I feel like I probably took an extra day off of work um, just to be able to recover, but I have more time off than my husband does. So he had to make it back in time for work. So yeah, that the final day, just working, traveling home, and that is our entire honeymoon. Kind of low key. I explained why in the first video, but I thought it was a great experience. Would I do some things differently now? Yeah, but what's in the past is in the past. So that is this little series of videos. If you call 2 videos a series, I'll link the other one in the high cards above if you missed it. And that is it. If you enjoyed the video, I would love it if you gave it a little like, leave a comment with any of your thoughts down below, and I would be so happy if you joined my little channel here by subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!